Good evening. Welcome back for more Haskell. I had quite a good week last week. I managed to replace my awkward list of subcommands with an awkward type of subcommands. But it gave me a bit of flexibility. It meant I could replace the implementation of how I store those list of commands without necessarily changing the way that we call it or the way we declare our commands. So tonight, what I'd like to do is tidy it up a little bit. I just want to add the ability to add help text so that when we print out the usage information, it shows something useful. I want to tidy the code up a bit as well. It's gotten a bit of a mess, at least to sort of move stuff or like functions together. And then I want to add two new subcommands if I can. One is to remove someone from the list of people to talk to. And the other one is to skip someone, so if someone's not around, to jump over them. And both of those are quite interesting, I think, because there's an edge case where if you're at the end of a list and you remove somebody, you're going to have to reshuffle the list and start over. And the same with skipping somebody. If you skip beyond the end of the list, that will cause problems. So again, we've got to detect that and say, if you're at the end and you skip, then we'll shuffle and start again from the beginning. Which I think will force me to pull out this idea of shuffling and restarting the list into something common, but we'll see how that goes. But like I said, first of all, I want to do a little bit of tidy up. So we have this way of setting up our list of commands. What I'd quite like to do, I think, is add some help text in. So you say default command. The command we're going to run is show current, but I'd like to add some text in here and say something like show the current person to talk to, or even just that. And the same for list. So we'll say this will be show the randomized. Oh, are we going to be American? Let's be American list of people. Add. It's going to take an argument. So I'm actually going to name the argument. We'll give some help for that, so we can say names. Like that, and then we're going to add some help text. So this will be add new people to the list, and then the help for next will be advance to the next random person. Okay, so obviously that's introduced a lot of errors. So what we're going to go and do now is update these to take some extra information. So before taking action, we're going to take a thing, or we're going to take a string, which is the description. Oops. With a help text. Okay. So instead of command containing just A, with D for the default, is that what this is? Yeah, D is the default. Oh, I couldn't call it default because that's already in scope here. So I'll leave it as D for now. But what I actually want to store is, maybe we'll put this into a record of its own. New type. And this is default command. And it's going to be a record. Which contains help text, a type string, and the other thing, which is the action. Oh no, it's not. It's so the command is a type maybe action. No, the type is going to be action, I think. I'll just leave them maybe at this level because we might not have one. So if we don't have a command, we don't want to have to try and store help text. Okay, so if we come back to default commands, it's not going to be just A. Why is that not an error? Oh, it's not an error because I got multiple definitions of commands. This is like a, I can call it action, but that's going to lead to more name clashes. So let's give these better name or more unique names. I'm not say better. We can call it default help text is that, and default action is that. And what's the error? The constructor new type must have exactly one field. Oh, one field. Okay. So I think it just changes to data. Okay, now it's happier, but we can't just put just A in here. We have to say just default command where the help text, sorry, the default help text is S, might rename to H in a minute, and the default action is A. Can I rename this? No. There's no help with rename it. I have to do it by hand. Okay. So now we have some help text we're storing in with our commands. Create a new thing which is like standard command. We don't need that because we already have this type. So it can be command string in action. And this could be string an action with, oh, string and string an action with args, I guess. Why is it not complaining more? So here, command is going to take a string and another string. So this is the name, like the actual command that we're going to be matching. The next thing is going to be the help text, and then we have the action itself. A bit concerned that I'm not getting any errors showing up. I wonder what I've broken and how. Not sure. Okay, so we stored a name in a command, but the command doesn't take A anymore. It takes the help text and A. Command with args will be string, string, string. This is horrible. So many strings. I'm just going to set up some aliases to make it easier to read. After here, so we got type of command name is string. Type of help text is string. Type is all strings. Type of how do I name this? Is like name of the args or args format. Got args format for now. String. Okay, so then I can make these a bit more descriptive. So this becomes help text, and this becomes help text. It is not that, it's command name. And then it's help text. And then it's the action. Here, it was the command name, the args format, the help text, and then the action. Okay. So here we go, name, arg format, help text, and the action. And then she will say command with args, and it's name, not name, sorry, it's now args format, help text, and then the args. I might sort this ordering around a bit, I'm not sure it makes sense. Args format. So this is different from the way I used it. Help text. Help text. I might switch these because I think the thing I want most often is the action. Okay, so here, is this a legit thing to do? Can I say command and then give it two types? I think I can. Or do it need to be a pair? I wonder if it should be that. I don't know whether or not this is legit. If it is, then we could change default command just to be help text. And default action. No, not default action, just action. So here I can just say help text and action. But I swap the ordering of everything else, so let's swap the ordering of this. So this becomes action and then help text. Here command becomes action and help text. It should have been an error. I think there's something wrong with this. Is not compiling properly because I'm not getting any errors back. Like this should be wrong now. It should be that. I think. I can't even remember now. Args format comes at the end. So help text and args format. Not sure. Okay. Down here. So what's this doing? This is run command. So we've got just command action. We don't care about the help text. And here when we're running it, we don't care about the help text order formatting. But usage is more interesting. So command, we don't care about the action itself, but we do care about the help text. So we're going to print name. And we'll print the help text. And here we have the help text in the args format. So we can print out, instead of printing out args, we can print out the args format. And the help text. Okay. Right, so when we're running our default command now is structured. So how do I match this? Yeah, it might be easier in a record. I might put that back to the record because then it makes it easier to grab the first element of it. Otherwise, I'll have to pattern match it in here, which is not necessarily going to look that good. So we're back to record. Default command action, and default command help text. So type that. Okay, now we're going to go default command. Oops. Default command action is A, and default command help text is H. And now we get D, which gets D is going to get the default out, and then from that we want to get call DC action. Okay. Couldn't match type, maybe default command with default command. I thought D would get us. Okay, couldn't match type default command with the action. So this, oh, okay, annoying. So what I want to do is D will get us the command, so it'll get us a default back. So it'll be one of these things. One of these things. It'll get back for me. And then from there, I want to call DC action on it to get the action part out. So what I thought I'd do is call DC action after D. Trouble is D actually returns a maybe default command, and we didn't need to worry about that because we're calling from maybe here. So what we really need to do, I think, is this DC action of D of commands. Use maybe found. Use maybe. Let's find out what maybe does. So what I'm doing here, I think, is I am passing DC action into the maybe commands, and it should run DC action to the thing inside the maybe if it can, which we know it can here. Oh, I see, but this might return nothing, is what it's saying. So I don't need to call this from maybe and give it default. I can call maybe, give it the default, and then apply that to a maybe type. Which was this. Maybe commands. And then we call that whole thing on S. But it did not work. Oh, it's because I got a dollar in the middle. That's going to help. Okay, redundant bracket. Which one is redundant? The wrapping one, apparently. Okay. I'm not sure that's easier to read. Like, I find it quite hard to read this and work out that this gets applied to this, which then gets applied to that, which might call this, and then applies the whole thing to this. But I don't know, if it's happy, then I'm happy, I guess. Right, the other thing I'm not showing is the default stuff. So we can say put Strill. Ooh. I was going to say we can put Strill in default text, which we can do. We can say default then we're going to we're going to what have we got access to? We've got C, which is the command, so we can call D of C. Right. D of C will give us back the maybe. So maybe command. So we can do this thing again where we call DC action on it. Not DC action, sorry, it's DC help text on it. However, that gives us back the maybe type. So what we could actually do is say if we have something then we will print it out, otherwise we'll have nothing. Then I'll apply it to refactor again to use maybe rather than from maybe. Oh, that's cool, do it for me. So we're going to print out kind of okay, I think, but we're not putting a new line. So if we don't have a default command, it's going to print an extra blank line here. Not the end of the world. Let me just see if this works, because I've done quite a bit, so I'm not sure yet whether or not it actually works. Auto help. Oops. Stack run help. Well, it's not actually a command, but I can add that. Seems to work. So usage auto and commands. So commands show the current person. List will show the random list of people. Adds new people to list, and next advance next random person. So this stuff is working okay. Some of the formatting is a bit off, but I can probably fix that. I might just fix the wording for this as well. Because there needs to be at least one name. No, it doesn't actually. You can pass in no names and it adds nobody's list. So I can maybe try just using tabs, I guess, for now to try and make it line up. What I really should do is pad strings. But it's slightly quicker, I think, to just do this. So that leaves me. I recompile to indent stuff. That didn't really work, did it? Oh, sorry, I put the default to be Nothing. Right, can I somehow join stuff onto DC help text? I should really try and work out how maybe really works. So stack REPL help for maybe, not help, info one maybe. So it's got a B, it's got an A to a B, it's got a maybe A, and it produces a B. Okay, so B is my string, DC help text is A to B. And D of C is my maybe type. Okay, so this needs to be a little smarter. So if we take some help text, we're going to print out tabs plus DC help text of H plus a new line. So then I can change this to be extra. So now we no longer get our extra blank line. Run it again. It's not quite going to work, I don't think. Just going to replace these with tabs. I think the problem with that is that this does not quite line up. Maybe I'll stop fiddling with it though, because it's almost there. We'll just put another tab in to make everything happy. Yeah. That, and then this one we'll put, just put default at the beginning. Okay, so now we can print out our usage message and we can add some help text to it. Cool. I think that's okay. Right, the next thing I wanted to do is in run command. We are being given the state and we are calling subcommand on the state. So if I look in the file called state, auto state, when we say initialize state, it's getting the args, and then it's trying to get the head of the args and the tail of the args out. And I want to stop doing that in here, I think, and then just delegate this to the commands. So I'm not going to call subcommand S. What I'm going to do is call command, save command. We're already inside AO, so I think what I can do is say where oh, sorry, I'm going to need args, so I'm going to say args comes from get args. So save, I just call it save head again, I think. That, where I'll just go and grab the definition of save head. It's not in scope. Let's go and grab it. And now we're not going to call it args of S. We are going to call tail of args. Okay, and now I should be able to go back to my state and get rid of these bits. State is just a state it needs to run with. It's not going to deal with command line parsing. And just make sure that still works. It does not work. If I go to commands, yeah. I don't think we need anything other than the constructor. And even then, only because I'm referencing it somewhere, because I pass it into commands. That fix it. It's cool. And then we can call list. It should print a list of people for me. Yep. And I can call next. Or I can call add. We already got Beppy. Let's add Boppy. And then if we call list again, we should still see Boppy at the end. Cool. It's clearly a mistake because there is no Boppy. So let's add a delete command to get rid of that. Go back into here. I've got all of these actions in here. And I want to move them out basically into the room file. So we've got show current list, add and next. Start with list. I started to create a file called actions. Same list is exactly the same here. Yep. So instead of defining it in main, obviously started in this refactor and never got anywhere with it. We don't have a list, but it should be able to import from actions. In fact, what I want to do, I think, is import qualified actions as a, and then down here I should be able to add a.list, I think. Does it suggest it? Yes, with a.list. That's what we want. Cool. Show current, I also put in the actions file, I think. So I can say a.show current. Right, let's move next into there. We want to move run into here as well. Well, that will put in add while we're at it. Okay. We'll export those. So show list next and add. So now it needs access to exec state t and run. Run is a function I wrote. And in state t constructor, we can pull in from control monad state t. Exec state, we can pull from the same place. Okay, so now we just need to save state. Oh goodness, all this stuff's not in scope. Get comes from. What? Where did get come from? I wonder. Monad state get input. Okay. Where did it go? Control state monad. Oh, don't scroll. This is what I wanted. And should be able to do the same with put. Okay, lift error can also come from control state monad. Okay, where does it come from? And then new names, I need to grab from here. I'm going to grab save state first now, but I don't want it to end up in here. Okay, come back into main. We now have a problem, so we need to import this from actions, and same for add. Okay. Shuffle names. Is this used anywhere? No, I define it, but I'm not going to use it. That's how it used to work, but it doesn't anymore. Okay, can I get rid of this? Probably all this stuff. Okay. This load config, is that used anywhere? Yes, it's used down here. I'm not sure why. It doesn't load anything, and the config isn't very much at the minute. So let me go to initial state. I'm just going to hard code it in here. If config only has one thing in it, we could refactor this. So we could just call this file name. Is a string. And we say, for now, we can say file name is equal to, but we're going to want to fix that, I think. I'll come back to it in a minute. Okay. So now we should be able to get rid of this. Oh, initial state also doesn't need to take a config. File path. I would just say I see some file paths coming out there, so we can say something like file path file name maybe let that, and then we're going to read file from file name, and file name is file name. Okay, so we no longer need this load config because it doesn't exist. Okay, so in here, put in the actions, we're putting in the command so we can configure it. Auto state. I think I just now need to pull in initial state. Okay, do we need bang patterns? I don't think we do in here. Right, so the main's a little simpler, right? We set up our commands and then we just run it. Does it still compile? Having moved everything around, it does not. Right, so where is this? In actions. Oh, we don't have shuffle names, that's not good. Did I delete that from main and then it doesn't exist anywhere else? indeed the case. Okay. Try that for a second. Shuffle names. There we go. I probably shouldn't have deleted that. Can I even select it? No, I cannot select it. Copy deleted lines. It's probably oops, 44 is what I want. Wish you could. What's the light bulb going to do? This is the line I want, I think. So shuffle names is a list of strings to an IO string. Come back. I don't want to revert everything. Shuffle names is a list of string, actually a list of names to IO list of names. Shuffle names, probably. See there's that, and then we can just say pure. I can't remember what it was next. Oh, is it actually shuffling them? It's probably something from lib, isn't it? We got lib shuffle, and then it's not there. Pure shuffle seed L. What's L? L's are a list of names. Shuffle seed L. L is names. Okay, so let's grab shuffle from our lib. We can do data time. Get current time should come from data time as well. Okay, so that's the missing thing. And then here we're trying to get file path out to config, but actually we just called it file path. Maybe with capital P? No. What do we call it? File name. Okay. Probably should put that as well. Okay. Does that now compile? Yes, that's cool. The state stuff I actually want to move out of here, but I'll do that later because time's getting on. I really want to add a new command. At least one new command. Let's go back to main. So commands, add and delete, add and remove, remove. And remove people from the list. I should put it alphabetically. It's not a command, it's a command with args. And we need an action which I'm going to call a.remove, which I need to go and write. It's back to actions where we have add. We can say remove takes name and then auto state, and it's going to be evaluated under IO, so we can say remove the names from the state. We'll save state ns where ns is equal to s of names is, and then we're going to delete the names from the list. Is there some kind of, is there something in the list that gives us the ability to remove? Like delete. We could call it filter, but I think there was something else. Data.list. Oh, import data.list. Yeah, show me everything. That's the point. Can't see anything that says delete. So there's drop and drop while. Might be drop. So we could, oh no, drop. Drop is going to drop some elements off the start of it. Data.list dot, is there a delete? Yep, there's a delete. Okay, so delete is gonna take one thing out, I guess. So you call delete, it takes like a copy, delete from the list of Betty and oops, Poppy and Beppy. It's fine, but I want to remove everything that's in one list from another list. So some kind of subtract. Intersect is what I want. I want the opposite of that, I think. No, it's not even the opposite of that. You call drop while and then look it up in the list, I guess, or not drop while, maybe like delete while or something. Not element, don't know what that is. Got generic drop. Well, that is just out of curiosity. It's going to get into generics, isn't it? But yeah, that's probably not what I want. Delete by, delete first by. Right, I'll ask Google, I think, or the internet. I want delete by. Things probably getting two lists. There's a first list with the first occurrence of each element of the second list removed. takes a predicate and two lists. But the first current, what's this argument? I wonder. I want the inverse of intersect. Okay, list transformations. Nope. I could do it with a fold, maybe. Okay, what I might just do, because I'm not seeing anything in here, is delete by, and I'll look it up. So it takes okay, it takes this argument A, which has to be one of the elements of that, so that's not what I want either. Oh, this is very annoying. Let's do it with a fold. So the folder. What we're going to have here, so I don't know, how would that even work? I was thinking I could take two lists and look one up in the other. Let's just take, it takes the element list and the accumulated list, I think. Let me just check type of this. Okay, so folder takes an A and an accumulation. And produces if A is a member of something, I need to look up, is it contains? No. Is it, oh, how do you tell something's in a list? Searching lists, elem. So okay, so we're going to write a fold. I'm going to take an A and an accumulation, and so I'm going to say if elem A in the list, let's say Bobby or Betty, then about the accumulator so far, else A on the front of the accumulator, and then we'll give it an empty list, and then Betty, Beppy, and Boppy, and I'm hoping it gives me back a list just containing Beppy, and we'll add Steve as well, just to make it more listy. It's not that, it's that. Cool, Beppy and Steve. Right then, so, whoops. Names is new names. We can just do this inline. We can say S is names, new names. And we'll take an open layer of N. In fact, I'm going to call it without. N. I'll give it two arguments. So we'll give it things we're removing and the names of S. Okay, so without, I'm going to take a list of names. These are the things we're removing. And, oops, go to type. Sorry, list of names, things we're removing. List of names, which is our input list. And it's going to give us back a new list of names. So without, end in our input is folder, some name and accumulator, where we said if the name is an element of names, I'll call it remove. So it's not going to remove, then we just give back the accumulator as it was. Otherwise, we give back the name at the start of the accumulator, empty list, and the input. Okay, happy use the infix. End is an element to remove. Okay. So that should be the implementation of remove. Just going to inline this as well because I don't think it's necessary to have it in a where clause when it doesn't do anything. Right. So go back to main. Oh, we need to export add and remove. Okay, seems to be happy. So, well, let's run help first. Okay, so you can see it remove pops up there. So we're going to call remove and then not Beppy because that's obviously a great name, but Boppy. And then we'll say stack list. Then I didn't save the list afterwards, so oh no, it does work. I must save the list. Oh yeah, because we call save state at the end of it. Okay, cool. So we can remove people from the list, but it doesn't work if our index is at the end. So I'm tempted to write a maybe reindex, which just takes a state and produces a new state. I also think we could just save the state every time as well, so not have to do it in here. But we can say something like maybe shuffle. Right, let's have a look at our shuffling. So when we call run, no, that's not it. Is it new names? Yeah, okay, so new names is doing this thing. Names is actually a new state, isn't it? So what's it saying? What I'm tempted to do is when you call next, just to always advance, and then maybe write something called maybe shuffle, which says if we're at the end of the list, then we do this. So we'll take an auto state, we'll return a new auto state. And do we need to pin row? No, we don't, because we have to seed somewhere. No, we do need to be under IO because shuffle names needs to be under IO. So what we can say is maybe shuffle. And we'll just match everything. So auto state. And we need the index and names. And then we can say this thing. So if I is equal to the length of names minus 1. Then we'll do this stuff. Else we'll just return C under IO. Okay, so if we have, if we're at the end of the list, then we shuffle the names. Yeah, but at the end of the list, we shuffle the names and then we update or we return a new state, basically. I don't know why I called the state C here. I think it was really config. New state, and then we update the names. So we just run that. So then I think what we can do is I'm going to do it from here actually. I'm going to put it into lib because that's where I want to put all the shuffly stuff. Right, can we import auto state? Yes. No. Pull in that. And that. And shuffle names. Let me just take a copy of that for now. I think it's going to end up only living in here. But for now, we'll just copy it for a second. We need to move these imports. Okay. So we have maybe shuffle, which goes state to auto state. Go back to main for a second. So we run commands. This is going to take state and return. It takes commands and takes a state and returns empty IO. that's annoying. I really like to return a state, I think. It's not a great bit of design because I don't want the action to have to worry about storing the state at the end. And I was also going to move shuffling the state out as well, or potentially shuffling if you got to the end. But maybe that's not going to work here. So let's go back to the actions. So delete, remove, sorry. So save state should actually be applied to maybe shuffle. Of that. Oops. It's in lib, I need to export it. And couldn't match type auto state. What type has it gotten? Actual type IO auto state. So save state. Oh, okay. That one, that? No, it's wrong around, isn't it? So save state is expecting to take an auto state and write it, and it creates an IO action. Okay, back to actions. So we have maybe shuffle return the state under IO. Can we just pump that straight to save state? Yes. Okay. So we take the thing out and then we shuffle if we need to. We've gotten to the end. And then the other place we're doing shuffling is next. Next. This calls run, which calls new names. Okay, so what I might do is get the names out. I mean, this is not the names, this is actually state. And what we're doing here is, I think what we're going to do is something like let s prime is s where the idx is equal to I plus 1. So I'm hoping we can do this. idx equals I. We cannot do that. Okay. We'll get the state out. We'll call idx of s, add 1 onto it. We've got S prime. Then we can call maybe shuffle on S prime. Do I need to store this in NS? Can I just say, put that? I cannot. Oh, hang on. Can you say that? No, because left arrow is turning something different. Looking at that next week. Okay, so here, I think we can just drop all of this out. Which means I think we can drop this out as well. So what's going on here? We increment the index, we potentially shuffle it. I'm going to make this a little bit more robust, so it's not if it's equal to the end of the list, but if it's greater than or equal to end of the list. Then we just shuffle the list. Okay, does this compile? Then we got a couple of funny things to do. So we'll run next a few times until we get to Beppy. Okay, and just run this, see where we are. Should be on Beppy, we've got John to go. So if we call next, it should go to John. It did not go to John, it shuffled. Okay, so we're out by one in our shuffling. Is that because we're incrementing first, I wonder? I think it's because we're incrementing first. So we were at this point, it was Beppy, but let's say we were at K, then we increment it here, and then we say, are we at the end of the list? If so, shuffle it. And I actually think what we want to do is say we are beyond the end of the list, because then we could drop the maybe shuffle out of here, I think. So we delete, and that leaves us beyond the end of the list. And then show will be broken, so we do want to worry about that. Okay, think maybe that might work. So we'll pull, let's just remove everyone, not everyone, but we can remove Bruce, Bob, Marilyn, Mary, John, Betty J, and Fran. Does that work? Should be a very short list now, hopefully. Okay, we call next, it should be K. We run next, it should be Beppy, hopefully. We run next, it should be Betty S. Well, not Betty S, but it should have shuffled it. Is it just not shuffling now? Because there are only 3 people, it is possible that we got the same list back, but I'm suspicious now. After Peppy comes, okay, it did shuffle. Okay, Peppy. Now, we're on Beppy. If we go one next, so we're on Betty S and list, but we remove, oops, remove K from the start of the list. That should leave us be on the end of the list. So it should have shuffled it. It did. Cool. Okay, so that's safe. So yeah, this maybe shuffle gives us a way of saying I might have taken this beyond the list, sort it out. Yeah, so there's no guarantee. The fact that we stayed on Betty S is a fluke. It's possible it could have changed the order of this, in which case we would have gone from, we were on Betty S, and by deleting someone we switched to Beppy. It's not perfect, but it'll do for now. I think skip will work the same way. So I might want to make this a bit more intelligent and say, if we're at the end of the list and we need to shuffle, maybe remember where we are. Yeah, because there's no need to go back to the start, which is what maybe shuffle is doing. Maybe shuffle is saying, begin again at the start of the new list. Might be okay, I'm not sure. I'll have a think about that and look at it next week, see if we can make the shuffling a bit more intelligent to try and not lose the place. Because maybe we could just drop the index by that amount. So if the index is higher than the number of people we want to remove, then go back, and that wouldn't work either, because if you remove them later down the list, then we don't want to go back and sort of repeat people. I don't know, I'll have to think about this. But yeah, next week I'll come back and look at this again. But at least I've moved some code around, I guess. I've added some help text, which I think is useful. This is a bit hard to read now. I might look at the trick that parse applicative does, where rather than just being a list of arguments, they're actually things joined together, so they are they use the same movement here, but say something like for example, here you might say command this list and it's joined with like help text of this and an action of that. But I don't know. At least it's got help text now. It's not terrible to read. It's a little bit of a sort of wall of text. But yeah, kind of works. I want to move state saving out as well. I want to put this, I think, at the end of here. Oh, I'm thinking about that as well. But yeah, I've added at least one command, so that's pretty good, I guess. Cool. All right. Thanks for watching, if there's anyone here watching. And maybe see you next week. Goodbye.